Lattimore played his first game with the Commanders, and if you didn't know it, you wouldn't have known. You never saw him. He was just kind of chilling on an island. I kept watching him locking in pre-snap on obvious passing downs. And he would just kind of backpedal and drift into the flat, and no one would be on, like, not even a route being run anywhere over there on the vast majority of plays. But that is pretty telling that there was a respect enough from the Saints where they kind of went into the game going, all right, we'll go away from Marshon Lattimore. So even though he did not make quote unquote plays, he impacted the game, something we talked about yesterday, and he helped a whole lot. It's got to make you feel a ton better about the secondary. Not that one performance, although I'll sign up for that, but just the fact that you've got him. You know, you got this week A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. You've been a terrible matchup for those guys on paper. Now you got someone who can lock horns maybe with A.J. Brown if you want to have him travel, or take away one of those guys on every single play if he just stays put on the right side of the formation, let's say. The next week, you got Drake London, Darnell Mooney, decent weapons on the outside. Ray McLeod on the inside on Igbenogany will be a tough matchup. But the Falcons have some decent weapons, even though their offense is sputtered. I can't tell you how much different things can look on paper if Lattimore can give him that kind of presence where half the field is not a concern.
So you didn't have a counterpunch. You didn't have an answer for the elite wide receiver. You look at some of the game logs that guys have had against Washington, despite the fact that they're pretty much playing coverage. They were playing soft coverage all the time to try to prevent big plays from happening, and they were still happening. I mean, to me, this was, we just don't have the Joes, right? You could have the greatest scheme in the world, and at some point, even in a zone defense, someone's going to have to cover somebody. Even in a quarter situation, or you're playing a deep shell, there's going to be a guy in your area, and you must cover him. You must have some kind of man-to-man principle in a moment. And they simply couldn't hang. Now with Lattimore, at least you got a shot, I think, with some of those elite guys. Now, one thing I did notice, to kind of your point, I want to bring that up, is he only lined up on the defense's right side, offense's left, pretty much, right, throughout the entire game. Now, to me, there's something to that, where you go, okay, that's the side of the field I don't have to worry about. Everything else we can sort of cater a different way, and that's fine.
And they didn't have a receiver worth following.
Totally. But I'm wondering if that's going to be the case going forward, because if it is, then if I'm an offense, I'll go, well, I have a counter for that. It's where the guy that I want the football, the guy that I want to get the football is never lined up on him, and I'll do something easy.
Not if you're Cliff Kingsbury.
I was going to say, unless you're playing Cliff Kingsbury, and then in that case, it's perfect. 17 and 23 will shake hands and then not be part of the game from then on out. So it's interesting, just something to note going forward, if this is only a right side sort of Kingsbury thing, or if it's, no, we'll travel when it's appropriate to travel. But I'm with you. Covering Valdez Scantling or Dante Pettis or somebody else was not travel worthy, to borrow from the parlance of Seinfeld, and someone is sponge worthy. But to me, the impact is clear and obvious. He's their best cornerback. Duh. More analysis like this to follow. And it's not even close. It's to the point that now you have an asset that allows you to do other things on defense.
He was in coverage on 39 snaps, which isn't to say he had someone to cover, but like he backpedaled into the secondary on passing downs 39 times, was not targeted once.
0.
Just a clean sheet across the entire stat and box score. Mike Sanders still was targeted 7 times, just 2 catches for 20 yards with 7 yards yak and the interception and a pass breakup. Terrific game for him.
Good day at the office.
Noah Igbenogany was targeted 4 times, 1 catch for 7 yards with 4 yards yak. Long of 7, obviously, with 1 PBU for him. He was really good as well. Secondary is in a pretty good place right now at the corner position. But again, I hesitate to say they got it all figured out, because I think that was the easiest remaining team to play in terms of secondary. Even the Panthers, who don't have a great wide receiver room, Adam Thielen's a little bit of a third down war daddy. And like, that guy is a terrific route runner.
Yep.
He's physical. I would rather deal with any of the Saints wideouts, maybe outside of MVS, although he's so inconsistent. He dropped 2 passes. But like,
the best strategy is to leave him open, honestly.
Right.
If you can test, he catches it.
But I would rather deal with any of those guys than Thielen, other than maybe Valdez Scantling. But the Eagles, the Falcons coming up, that's going to be a lot more telling, I think. Let's go to Philip and Laurel on the corner room with Lattimore now entrenched. What's up, Philip? How are you?
Good, man. How you guys doing?
Good, buddy.
Talking about Lattimore, I saw his impact more in the running game outside of that last series where you saw more 3 linebacker sets. I don't know if you guys noticed that Chin was also very, very much up on the line of scrimmage. They trust their DBs more with coverage now. I think you'll see less gashing in the run game because of Marshon Lattimore.
I think that's part of the design. I know it's one of the things we talked about, one of those second order effects, right? Of being able to cover well. Well, the product of being able to cover well also extends to more and different resources. I mean, to put it in the most basic terms, and everybody my age or around there probably played Tecmo Bowl on old school Nintendo, Tecmo Bowl and Super Tecmo Bowl. And the way it worked is the offense had 4 plays or 8 plays, depending on the year. And the defense, what your defense was, you would just try to guess the play. And you commit resources to the play. So, for example, if Grant's my opponent, he I don't know what he's gonna run, but I guess Grant's doing run 2. And if you did run 2, I shoved it on you as a tackle for a loss. But if I'm guessing run 2 and you did pass 1, pass 2, pass 3, I'm gonna get gashed. They can now bet on some runs, whereas before I didn't feel like they could very often because they were so terrified of getting gashed in the pass game.
I think maybe what he's referencing is they brought the safety up closer to the box, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
In Jeremy Chin's case, I think he played the run on 11 snaps. Remember, he got hurt, obviously, which means Percy Butler finished things out. Derek Forrest played 8 snaps at strong safety, was in the box as well. But linebackers weren't really used a whole lot more like traditionally. When he's talking about the 3 linebackers, I'm guessing one of those safeties walking up would have been what he's talking about because he had 15 snaps against the run for Luvu and Wagner who don't come off the field. And then otherwise, Michael Walker, their weak side linebacker, played 3 snaps, and the rookie Jordan McGee played 1 snap.
So they held Kamara to 5 carries for 12 yards when the game was sort of in balance. Kendry Miller, who came in for Kamara, had better totals, but a lot of those again are hurry up offense. You're in coverage.
Yeah.
He gassed you for a little bit here and there, but like the regular part of the game when the whole playbook's at your disposal, they did really well against the run.
I thought they were terrific against the run early in the game. Rodney, Upper Marlboro, you're on Grant and Danny. What's good?
Hey guys.
Hey, man.
Thanks for taking my call. Listen, I think Lattimore had a soft landing. You know, I think a test will come this week when we play the Eagles. But I was saying earlier to the guy who answered the phone that, you know, and we need a pass rush so these guys are not left out there to fend for themselves. We really need to talk about the pass rush supporting your secondary because it doesn't matter how good a cornerback they are. If they don't have a pass rush, they're gonna get burnt at some point. And that's what we're missing. We're missing a vicious pass rush that can help those cornerbacks out. Thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Pass rush was really good early in the game. I don't know how much of that was on Haener. His strength, supposedly, in talking to Matt Paris, who I had a drink with in New Orleans, former Commanders beat, now with the Saints, and just reading up on Haener last week was he's a balls out quick guy. That was why they went to him over Rattler because Rattler holds the ball, and Rattler was going to be a guy where they were going to give up more sacks and pressures, and they didn't want to get him hit. So they said, "We'll play Haener. He's just going to get the ball out." He did not do that.
He didn't do that at all.
It was like the opposite of what he did. But maybe he just didn't see it, or they did some good things to confuse him in the secondary. I thought their pass rush, at least early in the game, was fantastic.
I thought even throughout, I know they didn't end up with as many sacks in the second half, and I think Rattler deserves some credit for that, but he had to move around. He had to make some adjustments and get away with guys. I thought a lot of times guys are one-on-one and they were winning. I mean, we don't look at it that way as wins, but Fowler got 2 roughing the passer penalties that I thought were bogus, but that's from beating your guy, getting into the backfield and harassing the quarterback. You know what I mean? Like that to me it's not always about sacks. We always talk about it as waves crashing on the shore.